Hi guys, and welcome to the most anticipated bustier class. This is going to be a very interesting class. If you know you're still having challenges or struggling with getting your bustier right for any cup size, then this is the right class for you. Stick around to the end to learn a whole lot. So now let's get started. This is my ready-made pattern. This is for a bust 34. I don't draft patterns from the beginning anytime I need to work on anything. I already have a standard pattern, standard bodies for different sizes. So I just pick the size that I want and then I work with it. So what I'm going to do first is to retrace this on another paper. So this is the paper. Next thing we have to do is to trace out these lines, the dart lines, and then the waistline. This is the measurement I'm going to be working with. Bust 34, bust point is 10, underbust is 29 and a half, underbust length is 13, waist measurement, the waist circumference is 28 and a half, the waist length is 16 and a half, the hip is 42, the blouse length is 22 and a half. So I'm going to be adjusting this pattern now to this exact, the bust and then the hip. Quarter of 34 is 8 and a half. So I'll mark 8 and a half this way. And then the hip measurement, I'll come to the base of the top. The hip measurement is 42. Quarter of 42 is 10 and a half. So I'll mark 10 and a half this way. And then from the top of the paper, I'm going to measure to be sure that my blouse length is what I want. What I want is 22 or 22 and a half. So what I have here is a little bit longer than 22 and a half. So I'm going to make it 22 and a half. So I'll do the same thing for the back. So you clean this line that is not. Do the same thing for the back as well. Measure your exact bust measurement, which is. So now the next thing, confirm the waist measurement. Our waist measurement, the waist measurement you're working with is 28 and a half. I'm going to make it 28 because I want it to snatch a little bit. So I'm going to just make it 28. Quarter of 28 is 7. 7 plus 7 is 14. So 7, I'm going to exempt this dart to see if I have 7 inches. So from here to here is 2.5. So 2.5. I want 7 inches. So this is 7 inches. So it's taking me back to that's my line. And then, so I've done my waist shaping that way. The next thing, I'll do the same thing for the back. I'll shape the waist of the back too. From head to hair is 2.75. I'm exempting this dart. I'm not measuring this dart with it. So it's 2.75 up to 7. So this is 7 as well. The next thing we now need to do is to we've shaped this pattern into the exact measurement that I want. The same thing, the same method you're going to apply when you're doing yours. The first thing is to shape the pattern to the exact measurement you want, your bust, your waist, your hip. The next thing for us to do is to build our cup. And for us to build our cup, we need our bust point measurement, we need our underbust length measurement. The bust point length is 10 inches. So this is 10 inches. Then the underbust length is 13 inches. It's 13 inches. And the waist length is 16 and a half. This is 16 and a half, but I'm going to leave it here. It doesn't, 0.25 is not really significant. I'm going to leave it this way. And then rule a line across this way. So this is my bust point. My bust point length. This is my underbust. This is my underbust. The next thing I have to do now is the difference between here and here, I'm going to take it up, more like I'm getting my bust circumference. So the difference between my bust point and my underbust is 3 inches from here to here. So I'm going to take it up just 3 inches here. And then just rule a short line. It's the same thing as you taking a compass and then circling it. So just from hair to hair, take it from hair to hair. After you've done this, the next thing you now need to do is to do your underbust tightening. What we are going to do now is to measure. So this is my underbust length. I am going to roll this underbust length. I'm going to be rolling it all the way to the end, this way. I'm going to do really also. So the next thing I have to do now is to measure what I have from here. So what I have on this my pattern, and then minus it from my exact underbust measurement. The exact underbust measurement is 29 and a half, right? And 29 and a half, quarter of 29 and a half should be about is 7.375. So I can decide to just make it 7. And then so now I'm going to measure what I have on my pattern. When you're measuring, remember to exempt this dart. So from here to here, I'm going to measure like this. This is 8. Then I'll continue my measurement from here this way. 8. Okay, here this way, and then here this way. So this is 16. Then half of 16 is 8. So it means that what I have on my underbust around what I have on my underbust on my pattern is 8 inches. That's 8 minus 7, because 7 is my exact underbust measurement, because we did quarter of 29 and a half. Quarter of 29 and a half is 7.375, and I approximated it 7. By the time you do it 4, you can't approximate 4 to 8. So to make 7 8 is not possible. So it's 7. So that means that 8 minus 7, that is 1 inch. It means that the excess I have around my underbust measurement is 1 inch. That's one way. The another way is to, so sometimes you can just generalize and then think about it. If my bust measurement is 34 and my underbust length is 13, obviously I'm like the normal size, regular size. I'm not busty. So I can just take out maybe like 1 inch away from my one. In total, the excess that I will take out in total from my underbust will probably be like 1.5 inches, because I'm not a busted person. But if, for example, my underbust measurement is I'm bust 34 or 35, and my underbust measurement is giving me like 15, obviously I am busting. In that case, I'm going to be doing maybe like 2 inches or 2 inches as my, I'm going to be taking out 2 inches as my, but all of these things are like due to experience. So if you are used to it, you have like an idea of what your underbust tightening will be. But in a case where you're just learning, I would advise that you always measure. Just measure whatever excess you have. So whatever excess you have, then you take it out away from here. So what I have, the excess I have is 1 inch. So that 1 inch now, I'm going to take it out from here. So it's going to be this place. I'm going to make it half an inch here, and then another half an inch here. So by the time I measure from here to here, and from here to here now, from here to here is giving me 1.75. Do you understand? From here to here is now 1.7. It's not up to 2 inches. So you can't just say, oh, you're taking out 2 inches. You're taking out, you have to measure to be on a very safe side. The next thing I will have to do now is to connect this all the way to this place. Connect this all the way to this place, and then we'll have to turn this. The next thing I'll have to do once I've connected this, if you are doing half length, if you're going to be having like a waist length cut, then you can just stop here and then cut out. But it's a full blouse length. It's a full blouse length. So I can decide to. This is my dart leg, right? So in this case now, I can decide to taper it back this way. If you're working with someone that has tummy, it's advisable that you just taper it back this way. But because it's not like there's one big tummy there, so I'm still going to tighten this place a little bit. So I'm just going to, from this place now, I'm just going to do around half an inch here, half an inch here. So this is this way, and this is this way. Do you understand? Basically, that's how I'm going to go about this lower part. Then the next thing will be for me to now come here. I'll get my French curve, and then I'll curve this way. I'm building my cup this way. I'll curve this way. I'll do the same thing for here. curve this way. Do you understand? Now that I'm done with my underbust tightening, I'm done with the bottom of the blouse. I need to move to the upper part. Remember that we're doing Armhole Princess Seam Bustier, and for us to do that, what you have to do, the first thing you have to do is from your shoulder point, which is this point, from your shoulder point up to your armhole point, this point. Now you measure what you have. What I have here is 6.25. Half of 6.25 is 3.15 thereabout, or 3.1. So I'm going to mark that point. So this is it, 3.15 thereabout. So I'm going to mark, I can just approximate to 3 inches. I'm going to mark that point. Then I'll take my French curve this way and then connect this way. So this is all I'm going to be doing to get my Armhole Princess Seam Bustier. I'm not going to do any tightening. Trust me, if your basic bodice is correct, if you've done the right thing, if you've drafted the right basic bodice, you're not going to have to, you don't have to start doing any tightening around here. You don't have to start doing excess around here. Because I'm very sure that my basic bodice is correct, so I'm not doing anything. The only thing I just have to do is get the midpoint of this and then connect this way. So now after I've done this, the next thing I have to do is to just shape out my neckline. And before I can shape out my neckline, I will have to close my shoulder dart. So I'm retracing this pattern against the next class, which is going to be a shoulder princess seam bustier. Now I am done retracing this pattern. I'm going to keep this pattern against the next class, which is going to, so I don't have to start explaining how to do underbust tightening. I've already done this in this class. So the next one, we'll have to keep it and then use it for the next class. Continue with our top. The next thing I have to do is to cut this out. Before I can cut out this bottom part, I will have to shape the bottom. I want to shape the bottom. So I'm going up by 1.25 inches. So 1.25 inches, and then I'll curve it this way. I'm doing the same thing. I'm going to be doing the same thing for the back as well. The next thing I have to do is to close my dart this way. So I'm closing my darts this way.
What I am doing is a V neckline. So for my V neckline, I'm just going to measure how many inches wide do I want my shoulder. I want my shoulder to be about 1.25 or maybe 1.5 inches wide. That is what I want the shoulder to be, right? Then I'm going to measure the depth. For a V neckline, you need to know that if it's going to be deep, it cannot be wide. And if it's going to be wide, it cannot be deep. So here this way, then I'm going to do about 3.5 inches. So this 3.5 inches now, I'm taking it down a little bit more, and then I'll curve it this way.
The next thing I have to do just to make sure that before then, let me cut out this part. Okay, so now this is the center front pattern. The next thing I have to do is just contour my neckline a little bit so that my V will not gape. Then I'll come here and do about half centimeter. So you're just doing a bit of tightening around the part so that your V will not gape. So that your neckline will not gape. Okay, take it this way. This way. So this way, the neckline is going to gape. So we are done with the front pattern now. The next thing is to move to the back pattern. So for the back pattern, what I just need to do is take my front pattern, bring the shoulder of the front and back together and mark this way. Mark this way. Once you've marked this way, and then you decide the face, how your back is going to be. And then you can do the same thing. You can do Armhole Princess Seam for the back too. So, and this goes this way. Another thing I do, another hack, let's say for example you're working with somebody that has big bum. So what you have to do is you bring your pattern, and then add to this part. Whether you're working with someone that has big bum or not, I always do it for all body size because everybody has bum. So you bring this way. And then this back now, just add a little bit of half an inch. By the time you add a little bit of half an inch, you also accommodate for what we've taken out from here. You can decide to extend the back, shape it, whatever you want to do, the choice is yours. As long as you have your pattern, you can explore. Basically, this is the end of drafting Armhole Princess Seam Bustier with a V neckline. See you in the next class, which is to transfer to fabric and sew. Bye.